What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today, as you saw in the title, I'm gonna be doing something different. I'm not gonna be showing figures, I'm not gonna be showcasing figures, I'm not gonna do anything. I'm gonna explain to you on how to start collecting WWE action figures. The first thing you want to know is what era of wrestling do you want to collect? Do you want to collect Attitude Era figures like Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Undertaker, Vince McMahon, Shane McMahon, etc.? Do you want to collect older figures like Golden Age and prior to that, like Hulk Hogan, Macho Man, Ricky Steamboat, Jake the Snake, wrestlers like that? Or do you want to collect, let's say, modern figures? Current day wrestling, popular stars of today like Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes, etc. Do you want to collect early 2000s, 2010s figures like Dolph Ziggler, like John Cena, Randy Orton? Or even do you want to collect NXT like Finn Balor, Adam Cole, Ricochet, who just debuted in AEW, which I'm kind of excited for. AEW is not my favorite. I watch it, but it's not my favorite. But back to what I was actually talking about. You have to know what you want to collect. What era of wrestling, what category of wrestling do you want to collect? You could even collect, let's say, AEW figures. This is an elite, but I'm saying AEW talent, AEW figures. You need to know what you personally enjoy, what you like to collect, what you want to collect. And then once you figure that out, you're going to want to go into the subcategories. Me personally, I like to collect more modern talent. I have, obviously, the older talents because they're bigger names and everybody wants a Stone Cold Steve Austin. Everybody wants a Hulk Hogan. Everybody wants an Undertaker. But me personally, I like to collect more modern wrestlers because that's what I watch. I watch modern wrestling. I don't really watch older stuff like WCW or anything like that. But once you have what you want to collect down, you're going to want to go into the subcategories of that. Which wrestlers do you like? Which wrestlers do you not like? Which wrestlers do you want? Which wrestlers don't you want? Me personally, I like to buy or attempt to buy at least one of every person. So I have that person on my roster in my collection and usable for my pick fed. And once you figure that out, there's obviously 3 different types of Mattel figures. There are your standard elites. Everybody loves an elite. Who doesn't love an elite figure? Then you have something more easier to buy, something cheaper. You have your basic figures. This is just a random figure in my crowd, but let me get a better example, actually. Here you go. Here is a basic figure. You have your basics, you have your elites. Basic figures are obviously cheaper, $10 about, but you don't get the same amount of articulation or movement as you do with an elite. Basics are $10, elites will be $20. Obviously depending on the actual price of the figure, but an average elite costs $20. And same thing with a basic. You can choose what you want to collect. Do you want mobility? Do you want range of motion for your figures? Me personally, I do, because obviously I mess around with them, I fed with them, I take pictures of them, and I need movement, I need posability for my action figures. So basics are not something I really buy very often anymore. And then there's your third category, which is your most expensive of the 3, but it is your Ultimate Editions. Ultimate Editions move better, in my opinion. They have more articulation, as you can see. They have the butterfly joints, they have the diaphragm joints. Some of them, like this Roman Reigns, have drop-down hips, which some people aren't a fan of them. I'm on the fence. I like them sometimes, other times I do not. But with your Ultimate Editions, you're getting more for your money. You pay $32, but you're getting alternate hands, you're getting alternate heads, you're getting accessories like championships, clothing, and like glasses and stuff like that. But for your elites, you're paying $20. You'll probably get extra hands. You'll always get extra hands. You'll probably get maybe a shirt, maybe a microphone or something like that, maybe a championship. You'll get one accessory usually, and obviously your alternate hands. Your basics, you don't get any accessories, most of the time at least, because they're basics. You get your figure, and that's about it. You don't get much movement, but you at least get a representation of that character in your collection. It also comes down to, do you plan to mess around with them? Do you want to play with them? Do you want to fed with them? Or do you want to just straight up, okay, here's my figures, here's my shelf, I'm happy with them? Because there's people that do that. I do that. I have a shelf I obviously display my figures on, but I also take them off and I move them and I play with them and I put them in the ring for my pick fed and everything. So you want to know what you plan to do with your figures. Do you want to do a pick fed? Do you want to do videos? Or do you just want to have a collection and be happy with it? Because there's nothing wrong with either choice. So if you want to just collect and have them on shelves, you can choose any 3 of these options and they're completely fine. Whether you want a basic, whether you want an elite, or whether you want an ultimate. All 3 of those options are completely fine to put on a shelf if they're just gonna stand there and be there for display. But if you want to do pick feds and everything, what you're gonna wanna do is obviously buy the elite version, or if they have one, an ultimate, because obviously not everybody gets an ultimate so far. I wish everybody did, because ultimates are my favorite of the 3. They're the best moving, they're the best to mess around with. I love ultimate editions. But not everybody gets an ultimate, sadly. So if they have an ultimate, you're probably going to want to spring for that one. Because like I said, ultimates, you're getting more for your money. You're paying $30, yes, but you are getting maybe an interchangeable head, maybe 2 interchangeable heads. In the case of Roman Reigns, he came with alternate hands, 2 championships, 3 heads, and his Ulafala. In the case of somebody like Gunther's ultimate, he had 2 alternate heads plus the one he comes with. He had his robe, he had his championship, he had his alternate hands. And that's a lot to pay. That's a lot to get with one figure. But this Ricochet, on the other hand, let's say you bought this Ricochet, you get your alternate hands, you get your entrance shirt, and that's about it. So it's really up to you. Do you want more accessories and more movement for the $32 price point, or do you just want the $22 and you get a great figure, but you get less with that figure? NFL. But me personally, like I said, I prefer ultimate editions. So when I have an ultimate available, I usually try and spring for that ultimate. But once you figure all that out, once it comes down to it and you have it all on display and you have all what you want, you're obviously going to want to choose people that you want. Do you want Roman Reigns? Do you like Roman Reigns? Because if you like Roman Reigns, you want to go for the best version of Roman Reigns possible. If you like Finn Balor, you want to go for the best version of Finn Balor possible. You want to go for the best version of the characters you want to buy for your collection. At least me personally, I believe so. Because you don't want to buy this Ultimate Cody Rhodes. You don't want to buy a basic Cody Rhodes because you want a Cody Rhodes. You should try and get the best version you can. Obviously, if you can only find the basic, or you can only get the basic, get the basic. No one's shaming on you for that. But if you have the option, you have the availability, always get the best one you possibly can. So, that leads me to my next topic of figures that, or people that you want that haven't been made into figures. Let's say you want, let's say, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. Their figures, they only had 1 elite ever, and both of their figures do not go for very little. They are pretty expensive to get, being that they only have 1 elite. So you could obviously go the route of getting their basic figures. That's what I did. I took their basics and I turned them into elites. Some people don't like customizing. I know there are people out there that only like buying the figures itself and being happy with them. But me personally, I'm never happy with it. Almost every figure I have in my collection has been customized in some sort of way. But Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, those are 2 figures that I want in my collection that I do not own. So I went ahead and I got figures, the basics, and I turn them into elites. You could also do that if you want to buy basics because you can't get the elite figure. Then you could always do this. You could always convert them into an elite. Or let's say in the case of this Finn Balor figure. Finn Balor, at the time of recording, has not had an ultimate. He did have one announced for his Judgment Day attire, but he has not had one released just yet. So I went ahead and I made this Finn Balor based off his NXT run, obviously in the trunks with the shorter hair, and he does have his complete tattoos as well. But I made this Finn Balor because I don't know if Mattel will go ahead and give us an Ultimate Edition Finn Balor from NXT. And even if they do, I have one for the time being, and I'm happy with it. So that's really it. You need to mark it down to those few things. You need to know what era you want to collect. You need to know what figures you want, like which ones. Do you want elites, basics, or ultimates? And then you also need to know who do you want to buy. Because once you know who you want to buy, then you can nail that down for you. You can choose, okay, I want a Cody Rhodes figure. Then you can go ahead and look online and see, here's all Cody Rhodes figures. There's Stardust, there's Undashing Cody Rhodes, there's Dashing Cody Rhodes, there is American Nightmare Cody. There's hundreds of Cody Rhodes figures to choose from. You can choose basics, ultimates, elites. And once you figure out what era of Cody Rhodes you want, what version of Cody Rhodes you want, do you want an ultimate, do you want an elite, or do you want a basic? Once you figure those two things out, let's say I want an Ultimate Edition Cody Rhodes. You have two choices. You have this choice, or you have the Mattel Creations Cody Rhodes. You have two choices between those ultimates, and you have to decide which one you want. Me personally, I'm always going to go with this one. This is one of my favorite figures in my collection, just because of how great the articulation is, and the attire choice, and everything about it. Compared to the first Ultimate, which the torso is too big. He had a lot of problems, but that's a completely separate issue for another day. And then it also comes down to, let's say you want a Roman Reigns, right? You have to decide, do you want a Shield Roman? Do you want a Big Dog Roman? Do you want a Tribal Chief Roman? Because once you figure that out, you can decide, okay, I want an Elite Roman Reigns from his Big Dog figures. Then you can go and get one of those. It depends on what you want for your collection and what rendition of the character do you want. Because once you figure all that out, it gets much, much easier. And you can buy little by little. Okay, I'm going to buy this Finn Balor on Wednesday because I really want a Finn Balor. Or I'm going to buy this Paul Heyman figure because I want a Paul Heyman to go with my bloodline. It's really pretty simple. Once you dial it down to those few categories, you can figure out very quickly on who do I want to buy, what type of figure do I want to buy, what era do I want to buy. Once you get those three categories down, you're pretty much set. Because I can't just get into a hobby and be like, okay, I'm going to start collecting wrestling figures and not know anything about it. Because I won't know, do I want this, do I want that, or do I want something else? Because let's say I'm just going to start buying, I could buy a basic and then be upset that there's no articulation and then quit the hobby. You need to know what you're buying first before you do it. So hopefully this video helped you at all. If you're interested in getting into wrestling figures, or you're thinking about it, or you're starting, or anything and such. So please like, please subscribe. It's free. It does nothing but help me out, and I appreciate your support so much. And if you'd be inclined to, please check out the first episode of IEW Glory. I worked really hard on it. The production of it massively improved from the first episode of IEW Rage. So if you have a chance, you have a couple minutes, go on my profile, go check out that video, because I spent a lot of time on it, and I'm very proud of it. So thank you very much, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.